Hi, I am James Dawson. This is Prince, who should not be drinking my coffee. I wasn't going to vlog this week, but I just wanted to record a very short vlog about words, and words that we should use and words that we shouldn't. When we were little, me and my sister used to obsessively watch He-Man and She-Ra, and at the end of every episode of where are you going? At the end of every episode, I want to play with my feet. At the end of every episode of He-Man and She-Ra, there used to be like a moral, like really worthy message. And I hope that this doesn't feel like an after-school special worthy message. But there's been a lot going on the Twitters and the Facebooks. And so I just wanted to say something briefly. Words can really hurt. And I think they hurt in two ways. I think they hurt on a really big, epic level, and it feels like a lot of what we've been talking about this week is about those big-scale things, about freedom of speech and political correctness, and things we should and shouldn't be able to say. I think we all know the things, the words we shouldn't use, and I think the Katie Hopkinses of this world, who go out of their way to use those words because they fall back on freedom of speech and political correctness is awful. I think that's sociopathic. My grandma always used to say, manners cost nothing. And going out of your way to upset somebody else, to me, that's cruel and strange. I think that when people lash out like that, when people use words they know they're not meant to use, I think it's because they're not very happy and don't want other people to be happy as well. And that's sad. But what I'm worried about is those words, while they do, you know, there is a discussion to be had about the bigger picture, it's the smaller picture that I'm worried about. When people use hateful language on buses and tubes and trains and in schools, in classrooms, on the streets, there's people listening and there's people taking that in, and people who are hearing those words and internalising those words and feeling bad about themselves. And it's only really now that I'm in my 30s that I'm properly getting grip on the hurt that was done to me at school. I thought, you know, I was over it, but it turns out maybe I'm not. I've been doing some work with a therapist, and actually I think it's really, really clear now that I never really dealt with the words that were used against me. I mean, not a day went by at school when I wasn't too gay, I wasn't too skinny, I wasn't too weird looking, I had big ears, I had glasses, I had braces, and I thought that I was ignoring it, and I didn't do anything because I wasn't brave enough, and I didn't tell people to shut up, and I didn't tell people that it was hurting, because I just, like I said, I just wasn't brave enough. Well, I'm brave now, and I'm not going to be a bystander anymore, because actually being a bystander when I was 15 hasn't done me any good in the long run. And I think there are still thousands and thousands of young people out there who are hearing fat, skinny, spotty, ginger, gay, queer, lesbian, dyke, retarded, and it's not okay. And, you know, you store that up, and it's not right. And we all, I think, really need to think. We need to think about the words we're using and the power they have, because as a writer and as a human, I think we know that words can be hugely powerful, maybe one of the most powerful things that we have at our disposal. And so we need to be careful. It's, with great power comes great responsibility. People are going to use horrid words, of course they are, because, like I say, people lash out, people get angry, and that's human nature. I've done it. Of course I have. I'm not saying I'm squeaky clean. But while you do, if you are one of those people who doesn't yet feel brave enough to stand up to the people who's calling you names, just know that there are people out there that will, and people out there that do, and that there are far more people with kindness in their hearts than there are with hate, and that it's going to be fine. And it will be fine.